Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the 11th of June 2026 and I see a couple of scarves in the building. Today is a great day for us as CAEs as we come gather here and just speak on issues that affect us. One key thing that we know as CAEs is that our role is quite different, right? We are executives, but at the same time we report directly to the audit committee. Our challenges then are the same, and we decided today to create this platform for us to come together because our challenges still remain the same. Whether you're in the public sector or you're in the private sector, we still have challenges that we face. We still want to ensure that whatever we're going through, the next generation doesn't have to go through. One of the things that we are actually thinking of is collaborating with the IIA. So whatever discussions that we're going to be having here, we're going to try and give a summary to the IIA in terms of how do we shape the future of CAEs, how do we shape the future of the internal auditors. Generally, this profession is in our hands. So today is a start of us coming together and saying, how do we shape this profession and ensure that it's better going forward? I'm going to introduce Ntate Motau Maloma. He's from the NRF. He's a very key stakeholder from our side. He did say I should mention that. He's the one who made this possible. So I'm giving him props because he said, please mention that I'm important to your company. He's important because he made this all possible. So we met him last year, and today we are here because of the collaborations and the discussions post that. So please help me introduce the partner in this process, a man who's really in love with transformation, an SCM practitioner and specialist within the NRF, Mr. Motau Maloma, to come to the front to introduce the keynote speaker. Can you give him a round of applause?
Good morning, colleagues. Or should I say good morning, executives? Because I was intimidated by the invitation when we started to say, I'll be mingling with the Chief Audit Executives. So thank you so much, Program Director Ostumelo. Yeah, indeed, we are the very important partner in this process. My job is very simple. It's just to introduce to you one of our finest executive in the NRF, our Chief Financial Officer, is also a group executive, Finance and Supply Chain, Mr. Bishen Singh. I am going to try and relate his bio to the event of today, and in particular how the NRF and Bagaka met, because I think it's important for the Chief Audit Executive community to know that this was made possible through a transformation imperative process. So, is it a year ago, Ostumi, we met at Penn South African Awards. That's where I met one of the head of internal audit of Bagaka, and because we are very pro-transformation in the NRF, we said we would like to explore collaboration opportunity. And we realized that actually Bagaka has been trying to respond to one of our procurement opportunities within the NRF. And that's where we have identified a development opportunity for them. So they then said, no, we actually arrange annual events every year for audit executives. And then we said, wow, that could be one of our first projects to do together. So that is how Bagaka and the NRF actually met. So Bagaka is one of our enterprise development beneficiary. The National Research Foundation is currently developing Bagaka for free. This is something that we pride ourselves as an organ of state to help our government to transform society. It is key to say that we want to see Bagaka become the, what do you call them, the PricewaterhouseCoopers of tomorrow. That is the thinking really and the vision. So our CFO, I just want to talk briefly to his wealth of experience. He has over 25 years of service in the operation and financial space. He's a certified ethics officer. He also occupies a number of boards within education and other sectors. But I want to zoom into his role in transformation because he is an executive responsible for this particular transformation we are talking about in the NRF. So, and to also brag a little bit about some of his awards. So, the CFO has made it possible for the NRF to attain a triple BE level 1 in the NRF. And I think for those in the room will understand how level 1 BE is viewed in terms of transformation. For us transformation activists and specialists, any organization with a level 1, it's a sign that the organization is serious about transformation. And NRF, for the second time, has attained level 1 through the leadership of our CFO Bishen Singh. Not only that, when we met with Ostumelo, NRF had actually won an award for becoming a level 1 state-owned company, a BEE organization, and our CFO led that celebration. And that was not enough. Now in March at the Smart Procurement Leaders Award, NRF again scored 2 awards, one called the Transformation Trend Blazer, which was also led by the CFO and the chairperson of the working group, Mr. Vincent Spannenberg, who is unfortunately not here today. But CFO again also collected another award called the People Architect because it's very people-centered. So I really wanted to brag a little bit about that, and I really wish to invite him to the podium to give us the keynote. Thank you very much.
All right. So much so for that guy on the screen. The guy in front of you is somebody else. Just coincidentally, he's wearing the same shirt today. So, morning colleagues and esteemed CAEs, board members, the organizations that you represent. Welcome to the NRF. We are a nice organization. We do great things. It's a beautiful organization that serves the country as a whole. So the story that Motao has been talking about is a journey that began more or less before COVID, when we realized that our transformation initiatives must be purposeful. It must make impact. We should not be doing things to color, transformation in this organization. So the story that he related was one of that, where we meaningfully and purposefully want to make sure that we transform lives of people in South Africa. In particular, the kind of work that we do, our entire nature of the work is about transforming this country. That's what research is supposed to do. The students that we fund are 80% or so from disadvantaged black backgrounds. Just yesterday we spoke about how do we influence historically black universities in areas that they're falling behind. So other than BE initiatives, the focus is very much on driving and leading in areas where we see gaps universities don't fill every space that there are where there are challenges. They need help, particularly in the research areas. There are universities that have undertaken research. Had it not been for the NRF, they would not have endeavored in those particular areas. So what am I saying? We as the NRF want to be thought leaders. This is one of those areas, coming in from a different angle as thought leadership in the science system. We welcome the relationship with Bagaka Group, and I hope it grows further, and for the dynamism that you have as a small team and taking on such projects, I hope you grow and, as Motau says, become one of the big 4, big 5 audit firms in the country. You can do it. You just need to have that vision and inspiration. Having said that, colleagues, I think our role as well in these initiatives is to change from the haves to the have-nots. What access do we provide to those companies that are fledgling, that are growing, and that have a vision but may lack resources? We have availed you the space for free. We have beautiful places in the NRF. This is the legacy that I will leave when I leave the NRF, and the colleagues know that. It's now 25 years that I've been here, and these are things that have all gone through the watch of myself. So when people talk about leadership, we shouldn't have leaders coming in and sweeping through organization in 5 years and they're gone, because they don't make impact. I can tell you that. I've lived through 7 CEOs in this organization, with the last one having just left now on 31 of March. What we need is leaders who come in over time, understand an organization, grow with those organizations, and make change. My proudest moment in this organization is the building next door. Maybe next time when you have greater numbers, Motau will make available the conference venue next door. It's a 200-seater conference venue. All of these things have happened over a space of time. So colleagues, what is our message today? So what I'm saying is, in your organizations, try to make sure you hold on to leaders that stay there and build organizations. Those that you want, they're messing up, they must go. They must go. Don't be sad, and don't get too attached to people that are messing up the space. I'm happy to see people come and go in the NRF, because those are things that make us a stronger organization. Right now we have a leadership crisis here. Out of 7 executives, we have 3 only. The rest of us are carrying the ship, and we are winning the battle. Ask the colleagues, they will tell you. We have solid anchors in this organization. So wherever you go in your careers as Chief Audit Executives, and the strategic advice that you are supposed to give, do not sit on the sidelines. One of the greatest things that I've learned recently is when you don't speak up in those executive meetings. Moseme, now we've co-opted her onto the corporate executive, so she hears all the juicy stories. I don't know whether you guys sit in your organization's excos. You should be. Obviously not taking decisions there, but as an observer. We're looking at internal audit as a strategic partner in governance, technology, and standards. Some of those partner things that I've already told you about: build organizations, don't destroy organizations. We want to inspire you guys as Chief Audit Executives, Audit and Risk Committee members, board members, to view internal audit as a driver of strategic value creation, not just compliance. The days of policing are over. I was the keen opposition to internal auditors years ago. Remember when you're in finance, you're an auditor, I don't want to see you. Worse off if you bring 20 findings. You are my enemy. Today you are my most loved people. Ask our Chief Audit Executive. So that's the transition that you want to create in any organization that you work in. I have, over the 20 or so years, I was appointed in 2005 as the CFO of this organization. I've learned over those years to value and see the role and the work of internal audit. As a CFO, I sleep better. I think as a CEO, where these functions generally report to administratively, they should be sleeping better if you do your job properly. There are times you will unearth nonsense. There are times you will unearth difficult things, but if you have a mature CEO, you have a mature CFO, you have a mature audit and risk committee, they will deal with it appropriately. And that's why governance training to these boards, to your leadership team, we've just gone through last year through a range of training initiatives, both with our executive and our board through the IODSA program. I'm a certified director. Your members of your executive should be certified directors with IODSA. Otherwise, what governance are they talking about? Right? They need to be quite clear and forthright. I have no fear, no favor. My colleagues know me. No fear, no favor, no nothing with our boards. I speak freely. I advise them. I tell them. And likewise, as internal auditors, you should not be trapped or gagged. You should have that independence. You should thrive on that independence that you have, obviously diplomatically, because sometimes boards don't like the way things get said or the way in which things are transferred through to boards or executive leadership. But that independence is keen and important. My colleague sitting there, Benny, knows many years ago we had a battle in this organization about the independence of internal auditors. And we nearly had an audit finding somewhere, probably 2006, 7, 8. How independent is independent? You can't have independence when you are reporting to somebody in the management structure. And that's very important. You should fight and make sure that that happens. I had an interview once here where we were appointing at that time we used to call it internal audit manager, because the greater part of the work was outsourced to PwC. And we needed somebody internally to coordinate. And I remember sitting in that interview with the CEO and the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee. There was a gentleman who came in for the interview. And the first question he asked, before I proceed with this interview, tell me who this post reports to and what is the level of independence. And we had a post that time that position was reporting, although you had PwC on the sideline, this was an in-house person. And the individual then said, the response from the CEO was that this post reports to the Executive Director of Governance. The individual said, thank you very much. I do not believe that that's where it should report to, and he walked out of the interview. That's a conviction that you must have. Okay, I tell you stories as I go along. 25 years is a long time, but I must also stick to the agenda, otherwise these guys are going to kick me out. What we need is to frame the day's discussions around governance, particularly technology adoption. The world is running away, and standards alignment with the new internal audit standards that have come up. I'm hoping that you guys have taken this thing and butchered it so that you can internalize it in your organization. We want to position internal audit as a bridge between assurance, innovation, and organizational resilience. Organizations are going through a tough time right now. We have seen in this organization the cost of services. I'm taking a board proposal one of the days for the increase of 3.5 million rand on diesel expenses. That's just one business unit, 3.5 million rand. So you can imagine what budget turmoil and these things cause across organizations. The strategic value of internal audit must evolve from the assurance provider to in an advisory capacity. As I said, don't sit on the sidelines. We want to highlight today in your discussions how CAEs, auditors, senior auditors, managers, leaders in the audit field can influence decisions based on risk, particularly transformation and sustainable value. Sustainability is becoming a key thing in many organizations, including resilience of organizations. You've got to start thinking ahead. A lot of us here are sitting here around the table from public sector environments. I looked at the attendee list. The public sector is suffering. The revenue growth is not as high as one would expect it. You get 5% and 4% increases on your baseline and allocation. That's not going to grow you. That's not resilience. That's not an organization that is going to change and become, the strong organizations that one wants to build. Salary increases chows up that 4-5% that government gives you. So you've got to constantly reinvent yourself, and organizations then cut corners, but you need to watch that carefully. What are those interventions that are being put in place? How will it help the organization? This is not about auditing S&T and travel and your creditors, and those days are gone. Our head of internal audit knows the deliberations that we have. We've moved away from those things. We're now starting to look at more strategic things. Budgetary planning, what the impact of IT on the organization. Looking deeper into things that can cause organizations to fail. And I think that's what you guys need to talk about today. Technology as a catalyst, certainly. As you know, things are changing. The AI and the digital era. What tools are you guys using? How many of you have changed the tools that you use over the last year? AI is here. I am disappointed in one area, and I say that to my colleagues. We do grant management. We issue grants in the NRF to universities. Why do we need panel meetings? Write a program AI, you get 5,000 applications. Screen it through there, you get 500 of them that are worthy according to the criteria you set. The other 4,500 return letters, the other 500 you take and you put further screening criteria. We don't need the 40 people that sit here and do grant management. We need 5 if we adopt AI properly. It will affect jobs. The others must reinvent themselves. So you've got to look at it in terms of balancing innovation with the risks of adoption. Obviously, you must have a proper IT functioning unit. There are risks to AI. Right? You might find that the one out of the 500 applications just slipped in through there because the person had all the fancy words that you're looking for, the search words. Right? I supervise so many PhD, which is the things that we look for. So many PhD students, I've attended these international conferences, blah, 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 all the right words in the application. But then when you look at the merits of it, it might be. So there must be some checks and balances in these things. So, and then out of the 4,500, you might find those that are credible might have fallen behind. So what checks and balances do you have? And we need to start building systems like that in organizations. Standards and quality, as I said, the role of the global standards that have been revised. We've gone through quite an exercise in internalizing them, updating our internal audit charter, aligning the frame of thinking in terms of the assessment of internal audit, or your evaluation of internal. Have we done that, colleagues? I don't know. You can answer yes or no. How many of you have internalized the internal audit standards and updated your internal audit charters? Right? You can see there will be some of those, a work in progress, But those are the things, that's your bread and butter as CAEs, as people that sit on boards, whether you're on an audit committee or the board, make sure that these things happen. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. We are very, very fortunate in the NRF that we have one of the best chairpersons of the Audit and Risk Committee. Dr. Len Kona, he's all over the show. He's got a wealth of experience. He's worked in private sector, public sector, umpteen public sector companies, which we are blessed to have. I'm just afraid when he leaves us, when his term comes to an end. So adopt those things. Make sure that the real world adoption stories in terms of standards are adopted from a practical impact perspective. Things are changing around the world. How are we making sure that your company is keeping abreast with it? Are we reading? Are we attending conferences? I know there's something. Have you just come back from something in Cape Town, Moseme, with you and your team? How many of you attended those things? We used to fight because of budget. So we used to say, no, you can't send 5 people there. But hell no, you mark a plan. We have a philosophy in the NRF saying, mark a plan. You got to do things. You got to take risks. If your CFO is not taking risks, calculated risks, then there's something wrong. I've taken umpteen risks in this organization. I could have got fired a long time, but you got to do these things smartly. And watch out when CFOs and CEOs take risks. Keep them on the radar and monitor some of those risks, because some of them are multi-year risks that they take. So we built the building next door a few years ago, 72 million rand. We had 50 million in the bank, which I had saved over 2 or 3 years. But that's only a shell. To kit out the building would have costed in total 110 million. But it's a risk that we took. We didn't have the money. We convinced the board that we are going to build that building, and we will fund it over the next 3 years. So we had 2 or 3 years, another 3 years. But it's a risk. And then you keep that CFO on tab to make sure that he closes that gap. But who's going to watch that CFO? You need to watch him and make sure that he lives up to the risk. What desired outcomes are we looking at from this? Obviously, we wish to ensure that internal audit plays a meaningful yet strategic role. We'd like to see active participation. I believe you guys are going to have some serious discussions or panels. Participate, share your stories. That's cross-pollination is the way we learn. We don't know everything in all that we do. Share examples. Share with restraint. Live practical examples that you've come across in your organization. That's how you would learn. Obviously, when I say with restraint, no names, who messed up here, who messed up there, right? And share the good stories as well, because we learn from good stories. And I really appreciate the fact that Bagaka, you have brought this team together. I don't know what conferences, workshops you guys go to as CAEs, but when you have a close net of people like this, you start building a network. You start sharing ideas. You start to grow the sector, which when you go to conferences, you pay a whack lot of money. I'm hoping this is free, right? Did anyone pay for this thing? You should not pay. And I think as organizations learn from this. Why can't you organize? I don't know whoever. Let me pick on you, the gentleman in blue there. Why can't your organization host something like this? Stops you, right? And take the colleagues from this wonderful fledgling company along in that endeavor. Nothing stops you. What you need, as Motaus painted along the lines about my histories, you need vision. You need vision, you need will, you need to mark a plan. These things, somewhere along the line, it costs money for those sandwiches, but it's small. You know, we can afford these kinds of things. We have facilities in our organizations which are not being put to full use, like this one, right? So why not? Let's allow entities that are growing, and that's what I call meaningful contribution back into, in terms of transformation. So colleagues, in conclusion, what I would like, internal audit is not just about assurance. It's about shaping the future of governance and organizational resilience amidst the continuous changing world within which this discipline must live up to. Thank you.